again with Maurice Peoples, and we're going to continue our discussion with soil amendment and what we can be doing about it. And if you found yourself on this video and haven't watched episode 5, you've got to go back and watch episode 5 because these are building on each other and are pretty important this way. So thanks, Maurice, for coming. And well, let's get started. Let's pick up where you left off.
Okay, so today we were going to talk about organic versus chemical or synthetic fertilizers.
Yes.
And kind of the pros and cons of using one versus another.
Yes.
Okay. And once again, and we've talked about this before, we have to think of soil as an organism.
Before you get into that, it's one of the things I wanted to bring up to you is, you know, our people, we've had workshops on building compost and how to do that. We've had workshops on understanding the microbiome. We've had workshops on using, compost tea and things like that. All of these things to build a microbiome, but you have to have nutrient-rich soil, or the microbiome isn't really doing all that much. Am I correct, or is that just?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's just all those things have, compared to synthetic fertilizers, their analysis, and we're talking about complete versus incomplete.
Yep.
In the last session.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
NPK. Well, they don't really contain. They're all incomplete fertilizers. So depending on what you want to build your soil or what your soil needs, you have to determine how much of that you're going to have to be putting into your soil. And
that goes back to when you were talking about soil tests, because if you don't know what your soil is like, you're at a loss. You don't know what to do.
Correct. And their analysis is much lower than what you would find with a synthetic fertilizer.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so when we're talking about NPK, blood meal is a good source for a nitrogen source as an organic fertilizer. And the analysis of that is a 12-2-0. Once again, incomplete. If you compare it to, like say, a 12-12-12 fertilizer, a synthetic, now those are all equal there, but you could get a urea source of fertilizer that's a 4600. So that's going to be okay, almost 4 times the amount of analysis versus blood meal with a urea, strictly a urea source of fertilizer.
Okay.
It's a synthetic. Okay.
Yeah, like you talked about. You talked about poultry manure. And then there's the beef manure, bovine manure, and those would be urea, correct?
Correct, but I'm gonna get into those in the next session.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So well, there's so much. So I kind of put the manures in their own session.
Okay, great.
So then we can talk about poultry, sheep, horse,
goat,
whatever.
Yep.
Okay, and we'll talk about them separate. And I was going to use them as soil amendments that we're going to be putting in.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, great. I didn't mean to get
okay.
ahead of it. I didn't mean to get ahead.
Oh, no, that's all right.
I just get
That's all
excited. I can't help it.
That's all right. So, cons of commercial fertilizers. Okay. One is we'll talk about what we call soil friability. Okay. And basically, when we're talking about soil friability, we're talking about pore space in the soil.
Okay.
And soils are rated like there's several different ways of relating to soils. And I'll talk about rods. They'll talk about um, blocks, soil blocks, or soil crumbs. And what that all about is talking about soil aggregates or particles, how they're clumped together in the soil and what they form.
Okay.
Okay.
Aggregate meaning those rocks and things like that. Is that what you mean?
Well, no, just how the soil particles
Okay.
are held together.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they can be held together in different shapes, okay, depending on the organic matter and so forth that you have in the soil. But they call them blocks, or it's shaped in rods or crumbs, and that's just a relationship and so forth. Okay. But it's based on how porous the soil is for air movement and water movement and so forth in the soil.
Okay. And that's the sand clay mix.
Correct.
Yeah.
All that
Yeah.
also.
Yep.
That's all part of it.
Yep.
Okay. So, when you use commercial fertilizers, they're going to break down those aggregates in the soil. Okay, and what they're basically, the acids in the fertilizers are dissolving the cementing material that's holding those aggregates together.
Okay. Okay.
And the microbes are basically the ones that are making the sticky or glue material to hold those aggregates together.
So there's a little bit of a fight going on there when you use the chemical.
Right. When you're using commercial fertilizers. Okay. And when that cement breaks down, okay, now that causes surface tension, or surface, what we call surface compaction on the soil surface.
Okay.
So when you have the compaction, now you don't get water movement or air movement, okay, into the soil, down into the root systems for the plant.
So you're suffocating the soil.
So you're suffocating the soil.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing is the commercial fertilizers, because of the acidity, okay, now you're killing some of those microbes, or you're limiting, depending on how much you're using it, you're limiting how much micro activity there is in the soil. Certain microbes can handle certain levels, other microbes can't.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So once again, you're kind of suffocating the soil once again on that. If you get large doses of like sodium in your soil, that sodium will clog up your humus particles that you have in the soil, and that will eliminate a lot of the micro nutrients that you want to have in the soil. You're going to lose them to leaching and so forth.
So that's the salinity.
The humus can't hold on to the micronutrients.
Okay, so that's the salinity of the soil.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. But you need some salinity.
Correct.
Or
Once again, it's all pH driven. Once again,
okay.
so you're getting into that, like you said,
Yep.
salinity, um, whatever the pH is. That's going to be talking about how what your salinity and so forth is in the soil.
Okay, and so
Okay.
to interrupt you again, I'm sorry, but so
No.
we've got other forms of growing here. Some people are dabbling with hydroponics, and I'm a big aquaponics person, and then we have growing in the soil. It doesn't make any difference what method you're using. All of these things that we're talking about are the same principle.
Correct. Correct.
Right.
And like with the hydroponics, the one thing that you have to check on is the
Salt.
pH of your water.
pH of the water and the
Okay.
salts. And the salts.
And the salt.
Yep.
Correct. Okay. And you have to make adjustments accordingly for the plant to be able to pull the nutrients that it needs to have to grow properly.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Um, One other thing let's see here. Because they're synthetic type fertilizers, they're what we call quick release fertilizers. Okay.
Yep.
So they release their nutrients pretty rapidly. So we have to be concerned about, one, burning plant material if you put too much down at one point in time, because it releases really quickly.
It's the same as green manure, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, and the green manure is more because of the acids, not so much but they're hot because of the acids that they produce.
Okay.
Breaking down.
Okay.
Okay, causes the burning and so forth.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Also, with the quick release fertilizers, because they release rather quickly, they can, like in your purpose, you have very sandy soils. They may release so fast.
Yeah. Then they're gone.
They leach out of the root zone area.
Yep.
Okay, and get into the groundwater, which can cause problems. But they just release faster than what you want it to do to be there for the plant to be able to use it. So it's just out of the root zone area.
Right.
Now, they do have quick release fertilizers that now what they do is they coat it with sulfur. So you'll see something that say sulfur coated fertilizers, or it may say poly coated fertilizers. And what that is, they just put different layer coatings around those particles so that they release at different rates to give you a longer feeding time.
Okay, so would that
So
be
Osmocote is a very popular commercial fertilizer or synthetic fertilizer.
okay?
And that it's coated, it's either poly coated with something, either sulfur or whatever those particles are coated, and they give you a release time. Let's say the release time will be maybe 0 to 60 days feeding. Okay.
Okay.
But if you read the packet will also tell you, depending on soil temperatures, it may release faster. The warmer the soils are, the faster that it
Okay,
will release.
that's good to know here for sure. Yep.
So then you have to apply it more often than what it would you would think it would have to do.
Okay, so curiosity wise, then, if you're going to use the commercial fertilizers, do you want to use them before seeding? Do you want to use them at what point in the lifespan of the plant? Do you want to use them to get the best benefit?
Um, I guess you could use them at any time. Let me back up.
Okay.
One thing you can use them like maybe any time, but one thing you have to be careful of, even with the bag of slow release type fertilizer, if you handle it pretty roughly, you can break that coating or put a crack in that coating. So now it's going to start releasing much faster than what you thought you were going to have.
So this is
So
similar.
I would
This is similar to inoculated seed.
say,
Coated.
okay,
Is that right? Is that the same process? I mean, the inoculated seed has these things that are around the seed. You know, like
correct,
okay,
right,
okay,
right. So I wouldn't use like a coated fertilizer and then try to work it in this, put it over the soil and try to work it in, because you're going to possibly be breaking that up.
got it.
Well,
Okay,
once you've done your planting or whatever, then you can apply that fertilizer
okay,
over the surface of the soil.
okay,
Okay, in rows or in bands or whatever, you can do that. Um, and I do that with my perennials. I do that with my annuals. You know, after they've been planted, then I can sprinkle that around the plant material. Okay,
okay.
and so then once it's watered, every time it's watered, then you're going to be getting some release and so forth.
Okay, so same with like fruit trees. I mean, you can put some other things in the hole before you plant them, but it's doing the surface fertilization afterwards.
Right. Now, but if you're planting, if you're digging a hole and you put some at the bottom of the hole, okay, and then backfill it, and then put a little bit around it again, you're not really going to be working or breaking
Okay,
up,
okay, okay.
okay,
Hmm.
that soil.
Yeah.
So it's more like if you're broadcasting it over a garden area, now you're going to go in and till or whatever. I would be concerned about that.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Now, one of the biggest things, you know, with our people, as far as a con of using commercial fertilizers is, I'm going to, cause my kids to get sick. I'm going to get sick. I'm going to, you know, and you and I have a different perspective on glyphosate, using commercial fertilizers, what toxins are actually getting into the plants?
Um, well, they say with commercial fertilizers that the quality of taste and the nutritional value isn't as high as with organic material.
Okay.
Okay. Um, could be true, may not be true. I don't know,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it makes sense.
It
Okay.
does make sense in one realm, which is, you know, the plant needs 16, maybe 17 minerals to be healthy, but a human body needs 94. So you know the plant is producing some of these other vitamins and all that we need and nutrients if it's a
Right.
healthy plant.
Correct. And most commercial fertilizers um, don't have the trace elements that the organics have. So once again, they're not maybe getting everything that they need. They're surviving, um, um, but not necessarily getting 100% of what they need.
That they need for human health type thing, but for plant
Well,
health,
and even producing like flavors and so forth
Yeah,
in the plant.
yeah. But
Okay.
like what kind of you alluded to the last episode, it's um, there's times that it's just wise to get things going.
Correct.
And so it's kind of like triage. It's like I don't want to take pain medication all the time, but if I have a serious problem, I can't heal if I don't take the pain medication, right? Uh, uh,
Correct.
I don't want to be on antibiotics all the time, but if I have a serious infection, I need to do something about it. And I kind of look at that with our soil, especially here. Um, Most of the places and people are buying homesteads and stuff, and the soil is so poor
Yeah.
that it's kind of like we got to do triage. It's kind of like we're in a we need the medic to come because this thing has been hit so bad. You know, does
Right.
that make sense?
Right. Right. And the other thing is cost. Okay. Um, I don't know too many. How many organic farmers do you know of in Texas? I mean, farms that are producing food for us.
Right.
Okay. Okay. And I was reading someplace that more and more people want, more and more farmers want to go more the organic way, but cost is the limiting factor.
Correct.
Number one, to become an organic farmer, if you've been farming conventionally, you have to stop doing that for 3 years before you can be considered an organic farmer.
Right. Right.
Okay, you have to have an organic water source. Um,
Oh,
there is
yeah. It goes on and on like that. It's just like you know where Courtney and Joshua are, and you know you've been down there, and I worked with 120 farmers, and you know they're doing corn, soybean, um, tobacco, and then they do corn, soybean, tobacco, and then they do corn, soybean, tobacco. The big farmers, and
right,
all they're doing is like hydroponics in dirt. I mean, I know we should call it soil, but that ain't soil in most of those farms. That's just dirt. And the thing is some of them, very few, would just take a few acres at a time and start doing regenerative farming. And
right,
and it wasn't a huge economic hit. However, to just completely pull out of that process, it's just not economic. I mean, they can't survive like
right,
you're talking about. And
right,
so
right,
and so if I were, all these people that have moved to Texas here and doing the homesteading, 5, 10, 15 acres, the soil's so bad, they get so discouraged trying to grow food or flowers or anything. Um, it's going to take time. It's it's just it's just
it's a
going to
slow.
take time.
Yeah, it's a very slow process.
Yeah,
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 and so forth.
yep.
So, um, other thing commercial fertilizers do, um, because of the acidity and so forth, they can lower your earthworm count. Okay, in the
Yeah,
soil.
yeah. Like in
So
Kentucky, they don't have earthworms in most of
yeah,
those farms.
so you need them for aeration. You need them for their worm castings, which is poop for those who don't know what worm castings
Yeah,
are. But that adds to um, fuel for the microbes and so forth to be feeding on in the soil.
yeah,
Okay, so that livable biome and so forth that you want to
yeah.
have.
Well, we have several people. Yeah, we've taught on vermiculture, and
Mm-hmm.
several people that are uh, producing worm castings to put in there, but that doesn't solve the aeration problem.
That's correct. Correct. Um, the other thing because most commercial fertilizers are have a high nitrogen based source in them,
Yeah.
so it can cause, like we talked about the last session. I think we talked about how much potassium should be put down compared to how much nitrogen is.
Right.
If
Yeah,
you don't
you
have
did
that
that
ratio,
ratio of what you should be looking for.
right? If you don't have that, then you get a lot of top growth because of the nitrogen. You get a nice big plant, but it's what we call soft or succulent growth. And so, the plant is damaged in the long run term from that, because once again, we don't have very many micronutrients being
Right.
applied with
Right.
nitrogen and,
Yeah.
and so forth.
Right.
So it's important to read the bag and see what you're getting.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of like growing beans or peas with your tomatoes. You're going to have beautiful tomato plants, but no tomatoes, because it's just getting too much nitrogen from the legumes, and it needs a balance.
Yeah, yeah. But although some people would say it's a good idea to grow beans with your tomatoes,
Some
that's why
people.
there's companion. That's why there's companion planting.
Exactly, but yeah, and then well, I agree with you. And then there's proximity, and with a companion, what else are you growing with
Right.
those? Like
That's right.
the old thing of the three sisters: corn, squash, beans.
Right.
It's proven to be a phenomenal way to do it. And some people
Right.
here have proven it. You know.
Right.
So the companion. We'll get into that right down the road
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. We'll get into that
Yeah.
later. So I think basically hmm, we were just talking about cons and so forth with the
Correct. Yes.
with the fertilizers.
Yeah.
Okay. And so one of the other things is we had just finished up with succulent growth on plant material.
Yes.
Um, Another thing is milorganite. Okay, milorganite is something that, or what they call a biosolid, where people are using stuff from the plants, sewage plants or whatever,
Oh,
and they're
okay, okay.
using that. Okay, so that's something that people can use.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so one thing we have to be concerned about is, depending on how those biosolids were treated, you may have heavy metals and so forth in those have with using biosolids.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. But they're kind of considered like an organic type of material also, or commercial, I should say, a commercial material fertilizer that you'd be using there. So, advantages of organic versus synthetics are, they're slow release materials. Okay. Um, they don't form surface crusting that you would get with the synthetic fertilizers, and they feed beneficial microbes in the soil. So those are the advantages.
Okay.
Advantages of the synthetics are cost being the major advantage, and availability. Okay, they're easily, you can find them almost anywhere. So those are the advantages of that. Now, if we go to, I was going to go to organic fertilizers.
Yes.
So, organic fertilizers are basically something that was once living, or it's been mined, okay, out of the soil.
Mm-hmm.
For nitrogen sources, we have blood meal. And blood meal has the analysis of a 12-2-0. Um, comes from the slaughterhouses, okay, is where we get it. Um, it stimulates biological activity and so forth for the soil. But if your organic matter level is low, then you want to work 1 to 2 pounds of blood meal per 100 square feet in your soil.
Okay.
Okay. Um, and if your organic level is average, I should say, if it was low, 1 to 2 pounds per 100 square feet, if it was an average level of organic matter in your soil. If it's low, then you have to go 3 to 5 pounds per 100 square feet. And when we talk about the organic levels, once again, let me look here. For vegetable gardens, 5 to 8% organic matter is how much you want to have in your soil.
Yeah.
If you're flower beds, you're at 3 to 6% organic matter in your soil. Agricultural soils, 3 to 6% organic matter in your soil at the levels that you want to have. Lawns, it's down to like 2 to 3%. Now, if you have too much organic matter in your soil, you cause problems because now you're going to be holding more water and so forth in your soil, and that's going to cause root diseases and problems to your plant material.
Yep.
Okay, so that's those levels there for like blood meal. Another nitrogen source is fish meal. Okay, fish meal has analysis of a 9-7-0. Okay.
Okay.
Phosphorus level is higher, okay, than what you would find in blood meal. And the fish meal is dried or ground fish scraps, okay. It's less expensive than bone meal, and it contains more trace elements than what bone meal would have. I've never seen it on any shelves. The availability of it is the thing that I would have concern with.
Yes.
Okay. And the other thing is, I've used some organic material, putting it down. I don't know if you get a lot of critters coming in and digging up looking for stuff. If it's dried, maybe it doesn't have the odor that you would have, but that would be another concern
Yep.
of mine of using it. But if you can find it, if you have low levels of OM, then you need to put down 3 pounds per 100 square feet. If you have average organic matter, then it's 2 pounds
Okay.
per 100 square feet. And it should last 6 to 8 months in the soil.
So a growing season.
A growing season, right. Another one is cottonseed meal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, cottonseed meal has the analysis of 6-2-2. It's a waste product from when they're processing the cottonseed oil.
Yep. We can get that really cheap here.
Okay. Low OM, you want to put down 6 to 10 pounds per 100 square feet. Average OM, you want to put down 2 to 4 pounds per 100 square feet. Now, the issue with using cottonseed meal, yeah.
Yep.
Cotton usually requires a lot of pesticides that you put on it. to grow it. So you might have to be concerned
Exactly.
with that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You've got to
The
know your
first,
source. Yep.
that's right. So you got to know what you're using. When we come to phosphorus sources, um, and remember when we talked about phosphorus, I told you it doesn't move very easily in the soil. It moves maybe 1 inch in 20 years. Okay, so you need to work it into the soil if you're going to be using some of these products. You just can't
Okay.
sprinkle it on the surface.
Okay.
Okay,
What,
so
what's a good organic phosphorus?
bone meal.
Mm-hmm.
Bone meal has analysis of 1, 11, 0. Um, Bone meal breaks down a lot faster in cold soils than other phosphorus sources. So, like if you're using it in the spring and so forth, and you need to be putting that down, it's going to break down a lot faster. Okay. Um, Low organic matter, 3 pounds per 100 square feet. On average, organic matter, 2 pounds per 100 square feet. And bone meal, once again, is something that comes from the slaughterhouses
Yep.
that we get.
Yep.
Okay. Rock phosphate, okay, is a mine source
Yep.
of phosphorus, and it has a source of analysis of 030. So it's much lower in phosphorus analysis. 011 versus 0.3,
Yeah.
much lower. Okay. Um, and the bone meal should last 6 to 12 months, a growing season once again. The rock phosphate is from skeletal of prehistoric animals that they mined in, I think it's in New Jersey also,
Mm-hmm.
that they dig. It's only one location that they kind of get that. Takes 5 years to completely release all of its phosphorus.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's very slow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a low nutritional value and so forth that way. Works best in pH soils of 6.4 or less.
Okay.
Okay. Um,
Does it affect the pH? Does it bring the pH up?
doesn't affect the pH at
Okay.
all. Okay. But it also needs to have a lot of microbial activity to break it down.
Yeah. Most of the
Okay.
organics do, correct?
Yeah, but this is,
Did,
once again, you're adding a nutrient, okay,
okay.
that you want to release much faster. Once again, you want it to release in that growing season, and it's going to be 5 years.
Okay, so
And
you
you need
need
to
to have
have,
that. Yeah, you need to build the microbiome
right,
along
so,
with this. Yeah, yeah.
correct, for using that product. So low organic matter, once again, it's going to be 5 to 6 pounds per 100 square feet. If you have average organic matter, it's going to be 2 to 2.5 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Excuse
Okay.
me, per 100 square feet.
Yep.
Okay. Now there's a third product. It's called colloidal rock phosphate, and colloidal rock phosphate has an analysis of 0.20 versus 0.30.
Which is still
So they
less.
just a little bit
Yeah,
less,
yeah.
but it comes from when they mine the rock phosphate and they wash it. They take the water from that and dry it and make the colloidal rock phosphate.
Okay.
Now the advantages of that is that it the microbes and the worms can break it down much faster. So it's a much
Okay.
faster release,
Okay.
okay, than the rock phosphate. Okay. Um, and it's got more trace elements and so forth in it.
Okay.
Okay. So when you're using it on a sandy soil, people like to use it on sandy soils because it has some clay particles in it, which will help bind
Yeah.
the sand particles
Yeah.
together, um, which will help hold nutrients and so forth in the soil. If you have a low OM, you want to use 5 to 6 pounds per 100 square feet. Average OM, you want to use 2 to 2.5 pounds per 100 square feet. Now, the one issue with this is it's very fine particles. So if you're using it, you need to wear a respirator, okay,
Okay.
when applying it and so
Okay.
forth.
Okay.
So,
So it's
so
kind of like
that's a, that's
it's
an
like
issue with that.
rock dust.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Um, the other thing is, it's less expensive than bone meal.
I can
Okay.
imagine.
So, so those are the pros for that. For potassium sources, green sand is a good potassium source.
What do you mean green sand?
It's a product. It's mined, okay, and it's called green sand, and the analysis is 001.
I don't think
Okay.
I've ever heard of green sand.
Oh yeah, it's and it's also it's 70 million-year-old ocean deposits mined in New Jersey. Also, that's where they get it from. Um,
Well, what about potash?
well, potash is this would be considered potash. Potash is just potassium.
Yeah. So hardwood um, ashes from fire.
You can use potash,
Yeah.
but using that over a number of years can cause problems in your lawn. Excuse me, problems in your lawn, wherever you're using it. You can cause problems.
What kind
You,
of problems would
you get built, well, just because of the way it breaks down or doesn't break down, you just get too much potash built up. The levels are too high in your soil. So you have to be very careful about what you're using, because then it can displace a lot of trace elements and so forth in the soil.
Aha. Okay.
Okay. So, potash, yeah, like you said, yeah, ashes from a fire, people go out and throw that down. Um, over the years, coffee grinds, to go out and throw them down. But if those levels get too high, then you're creating another problem and
Yep.
so forth
Yep.
in the
Yep.
plant.
Yep. Yep.
So you have to, once again, be careful of your soil test. Make sure you are soil testing to know where those levels are at.
Yep.
But potash is a source for potassium.
Okay.
Okay. Um, and I was just basically going with what you could find on the shelves and
Right.
so forth.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
In the garden set. So and it releases potassium very slowly also. It takes 10 years for it complete release and so forth in the soil. The one thing about green sand, why people like to use it, is it's very high in trace elements. So that's why
Okay.
they use that. Okay. Um, it's a good soil conditioner because it binds sandy soil particles together. It also causes the clay particles to break up and so forth for better aeration and so forth from the soil.
Oh wow.
Okay, so that's another reason. Not cheap, but that's another reason why people use it. So if 5 pounds per 100 square feet, if it's low organic matter, 3 pounds per 100 square feet on average or better, organic matter. It breaks down kind of slowly, so they suggest that you put it down in the fall of the year when you're using it and so
Okay.
forth. To give you some lead time, I would imagine, to get into
Yeah,
the next
it makes
season.
sense.
Okay. The last one is sulfate of potassium magnesium.
Okay.
Sulfate of potash magnesium. I've never seen this on the soil. Excuse me, seen this. It's a 0022. Okay.
Okay.
Analysis on that. So it's a high level of
Potassium.
potash,
Yeah.
potassium that you're putting down. Okay. Faster availability than green sand. Okay.
And what's it called again?
Sulfate of potash magnesium.
Okay.
If you use too much of it,
Same thing.
same thing. You can cause problems with
Yep.
other nutrients being absorbed, including nitrogen.
Okay.
So you have to be careful kind of using it. But only 1 pound per 100 square feet on low organic matter soils, and half a pound of that or whatever on average type soils.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it contains also, as a byproduct, it contains 22% sulfur
Oh, okay.
and 11% magnesium.
Okay.
Okay. And the sulfur in it doesn't cause any change in soil pH. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah. Well, you're frozen, but we can cut that part out. So all right.
Okay.
So we are about done here time wise.
Yeah, and I was done here, and like I said, most manures and compost are good potassium sources, but we'll get into them the next time.
All right. Okay. Great. Well, thanks.
Okay.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we're going to get into the manures next episode. So thanks, Maurice. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.